guys, got a FJ40 here. We're going to be doing the suspension on. We're going to be installing Ironman suspension. And come a little closer here and show how rusty the suspension is. This is all original suspension. Here we're going to be taking it all off. So yeah, let's get cracking. I'm going to start jacking it up here. So first thing I want to do, jack the rear end up nice and high, so then the axle is just floating, and then I'll rest the frame on these high jack stands. So that's what we're going to do. And I have the front wheel chock, so it won't roll. So the wheels are off, so we'll get a little higher and then get the big jack stands on there. All right. Zip these wheels off. Probably go up a little bit higher here. Now she can rest on those. And someone really tightened this thing up. Must have been me last time. And we'll just keep this there for security. Zip these off. There we go. Now you can see the suspension that we're dealing with. We'll be putting new greasable pins in there. Everything's new bushings, new pins, the whole 9 yards. So, slight change of plans here. I decided to put the jack stands at the front because then it's really hard to work on the rear shackles here with the jack stands in the way. So this is how we're going to do it. From this angle. Nothing yet?
Nothing yet.
Start to get a good swing on it like that. Wasn't supposed to rain today, but now it decides to rain as we start this job outside. Anyway, it's got the spring off. The easiest way to get the springs off is to heat the bushings up with a torch and then just hammer the pins out. I'm just going to clean up these surfaces with the wire wheel and the inside as well before we put the new bushings in. So that's what we're doing right now. have to go on the other side to get the other part of it, but do that in a minute. Kind of hard to see right now, but check that after with a light, and then if we have to, we could always throw a flapper wheel on there with the die grinder, but just to clean any junk out of here. Go on the other side. Just cleaning out the threads with a tap here to make sure everything's perfect. Then we're going to install the new greasable pin in the front. Here's the new spring right here. Then we'll install this guy. We've got the new bushings installed in the back. That's all cleaned out. New bushings in here. We're getting close to getting this spring in.
So you're gonna start applying some molly grease?
Well, you know what? Before I get my hands dirty, because I've got a very tiny rag here that somebody cut for me.
Yeah, you asked me to cut you a small
that's
rag.
Probably about
you
enough
even gave me the dimensions.
Oh, okay, that's probably. Okay, so
It's a little noisy back here. There's a lot of people cleaning their yards.
don't they realize some of us are filming?
Exactly.
See nice Ironman springs.
Whoa, those are nice.
No, I don't have any old man emu on mine. Actually, I do have an old set on my white truck. My other truck, I've got a set of belts in, which I've had on for 23 years. But I do have a friend who got Ironman probably over 25 years ago, and he was always saying how happy he was for the price. I'm pretty impressed with these. They've got the interleaf pads to reduce friction. They seem pretty well built as far as I'm concerned, and they're about $1,000 less for the kit. So we'll see what they look like once it's installed and how the ride is. So we're going to get this centered here. Okay, this is going to be tricky because this doesn't want to slide in. So what are we going to do here? This width shouldn't have to be opened up. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to take one of these bushings out and try pushing it through the hole, because right now I can't quite get it in with the bushing there.
Right.
And I think that might do the job. Let's see here. Make sure everything else is correct. That lines up perfectly. So as usual, I went ahead and finished the installation so that none of you get to learn how to actually install your suspension. So what I was actually showing earlier was if you have both bushings installed in the spring and you raise it in position, it's basically impossible to get it in between the spring hanger. So what you have to do is install the inboard spring bushing, raise the spring in position, and then put the outboard spring bushing through the spring hanger hole into the spring eyelet, and then put your pin through both the bushings. Before you install the pin, make sure you grease it up well with moly grease. But yeah, that's how you do it, and if you do it that way, it's pretty simple. Don't waste your time trying to raise the spring into position with both the bushings on the spring, because you're going to have a heck of a time trying to get it up there. And here's the shackle side of things. Basically, you take one of the plates, put a couple of the big pins through, push them through the bushings, and then you put the plate on the other side. and just trying to line everything. Of course, the little bolt that prevents the spring from inverting, you're going to want to get that in there too. Once again, make sure you grease everything up well with moly grease before you install the pins. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. You always want to do the fixed end first and then the shackle end second. So we've basically got the rear all done except for the shocks. Need to deal with that. The spring plates needed some modification and reinforcing. You can see my other video for that. But really happy with how this is looking. And now we're gonna tackle the front. So to show you how we have things set up. Got the jack stands right there, one on each side. The jack under the axle. Gonna start removing the bolts and might have to torch the bushings out again to get the bolts out, but yeah, we're gonna get cracking on the front now. All right, front suspension's installed. Got my new front plates on here. Show you the other side. Really happy with how those turned out. Okay, next project here is going to be removing these shocks. Now the rear ones have been removed, but there's a bit of an issue here with one of the mounting bolts. So you see that one there, the big one. It's actually a bit loose, and it's a bolt somebody else installed. And the issue is the threads are rubbing on the shock. You see, this is the factory one. Has that nice smooth surface. And those threads basically rip the bushing. So I'm gonna work on cutting that out right now. And here's the rear ones again that were reinforced. So I've removed the bolt. As you can see, there's a bit of a hole here I'm gonna have to fix up before I can put the new sleeve and bolt in. I'm gonna basically use a combination of this bolt and sleeve and try and replicate the factory look. So I'm gonna clean this up and try and weld a piece in there with a hole in it. So I got it all welded in. It was extremely awkward welding it on this side, but I did my best considering the tight quarters here. I welded on a bushing first, and then I put the bolt in the tube through that hole, and I welded it on the back side. Just took her for a test drive. The new suspension. Also put a Old Man Emu steering stabilizer on. It was less than half the price of the Ironman. I don't know if I honestly can't tell the difference between the suspension because I didn't really drive the truck much, but feels good enough to me. These things are notoriously bouncy, so powder coated rims, Toyota center cap. Pretty happy with how this job turned out. Everything's been torqued. See the new spring seats, or the upgraded spring seats on the back, and the new and improved front spring seats. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you guys liked it, found it useful, please like the video, share it with anyone else that may find it entertaining, and we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.